Polaroids. I have a lot of them. I've been shooting with a Polaroid SLR 680 vintage camera for about 6 years now, and I've also experimented with some of the newer Polaroid cameras. So you can see how over the years I've taken quite a few Polaroid photos. And as my collection grows, I've wondered, what should I do with these photos? Of course, one option is to frame them, and I do have a plan of gathering all of the Golden Gate photos I've taken, arranging them into a large grid, and framing them. But what about all the other photos I've taken? For a while I was storing them in these photo boxes. A few years back, Polaroid created these photo boxes that store about 40 photos each. These gray boxes are an older, discontinued version. They've recently come out with a new version, available in a variety of colors from black, red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. They run for about $10. But I didn't like the idea of storing my photos in boxes never to be seen again. Out of sight, out of mind. I decided to try out one of these Polaroid photo albums. I went with the large version in black. Each one of these albums holds 160 Polaroid photos. The large photo album runs for $20, and you can get it in either black or white. Now, I'm very skeptical about photo albums. I wasn't sure what the quality would be like. I didn't want it to be some cheesy photo album from the 90s. So I'm unboxing the photo album here with you, and you'll get to see what the quality is like along with me. When it comes to photo albums, I'm a minimalist. So I really appreciated the simple design. All black with the Polaroid name embossed on the spine and an outline of a Polaroid photo embossed on the front. It's subtle and it suits my personal taste. When you flip it over, there's nothing too spectacular about the actual pages. It's similar to most other photo albums with the plastic and the slits for you to slide in your photos. One of the most time-consuming parts of filling the album was just getting the photos into the slots. They had a tendency of getting stuck easily. Also, you'll want to think about how you organize your photos within the album. Realize that there's only 4 photos on the first page, and then as you flip, there's a spread of 8 photos. Originally, I thought I would want to display a full pack on one spread. However, then that means that you have to choose 4 photos to go on the first page. So take a minute to think about how you want to organize and tell the story of your photos. Do you want them to be in chronological order? Do you want the frames to match all within one page? Maybe you want to put things into a theme. It's really up to you. Honestly, this gave me a little bit of anxiety because the OCD in me wants to keep everything in chronological order, but it didn't exactly work. One of the things you'll notice as you see me filling each of the pages with Polaroid photos is the album doesn't lay completely flat. And this makes sense. You'll notice this within the first few and the last few pages of the album. Another important thing to note about this album is the high gloss of the plastic sleeves. Polaroids themselves already have a glossy look to them. It's one reason why they're so difficult to photograph because of the glare. So keep that in mind if that's something that bothers you in a photo album. I really like how the white frames look within the black photo album. It's also nice to mix up your photos. Notice how on this spread I have color photos on the left and black and white photos on the right. It adds variety. This is where you can get creative in organizing your photos. It's not just what each one of the photos looks like, but how do they look together on a page, on a spread, as you flip through all of the pages. It's definitely easier to organize an album like this as you're shooting Polaroid photos over time. But when you're organizing photos that you took from the past, it requires a little more thought. You can see how some of the Polaroids are more faded than others. After filling the entire album with 160 Polaroid photos, this is how it looks. Luckily, the album doesn't bulge too much. If you're only filling each slot with one Polaroid photo, then you shouldn't have this bulging album. It should fit flush. Once you have each page full with 8 Polaroid photos, you'll notice it's quite heavy to flip through. One other nice detail is the Polaroid name on the back, printed in white. And if you're curious to see some of the Polaroid photos I've shot over the years, here's a flip through of all the Polaroid photos. Overall, I'm pretty neutral about this photo album. I have decided to buy a few more just because I would love to have them all lined up so I can flip through all of my Polaroid photos I've shot over the years. I wouldn't say it's the most highest quality album, but it's also not the least, and it's not really that expensive. It's only $20, and considering you can hold 160 photos, that's quite a bit. Also keep in mind that the design is fairly minimal, which if that suits your style, then it's great. But if you would rather have a more colorful cover or more customizable, then you might want to check out something else. Depending on what type of Polaroid photos you shoot with, might help you decide whether the white or black one suits you more. If you shoot with a lot of white framed Polaroid photos, you might not want the white photo album because it could blend in too much. It might look better to use the black album to make the photos stand out. However, if you shoot with darker frames, then you might want the white photo album. If you're curious to see more flip-throughs of other Polaroid photos I've shot over the years, leave a comment below and maybe I'll make a video on it in the future. In the meantime, if you love Polaroids, you might want to check out this video next.